I got something cool to show you guys today. Are you limited on space that you can grow, or you want to be able to condense down, grow a lot more food in a smaller space? I've got the perfect solution for you. Let's take a look at it real quick. This is a GreenStalk leaf vertical planter, and it allows you to grow 42 cells of plants in a very small footprint. Let me take you through, show you how it got set up, and we'll talk a little bit more about it as we go. Alright, so let's talk about how this thing goes together. It's pretty simple, really straightforward. It comes with this base. I've already actually put it together. All I had to do is snap the wheels in. They're pretty easy. You've got alternating regular wheel and a wheel that locks. So once you get it in place, you can snap that down and it'll lock and it won't roll on you. It's basically like a lazy Susan, so you'll be able to turn it and turn the plants towards the sun. Put this little drain tube on the back that comes with it, and that will drain out the side of the deck here, so I don't have to worry about water draining all over my deck. But it's a pretty straightforward, simple process. Basically, we're going to put that where we want it. Take one of these bases, fill it up with potting mix, and put it on the base, and then work our way up. Between each one goes this little watering disc, and this is what makes this thing really special. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's got little holes in it for the water to drain out. So we'll water from the top, and it'll fill up each one of these discs, water out through there to the individual cells of the GreenStalk. It's an ingenious design. So it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you fill this up with soil. We're going to put this on, make sure that the little hole faces the pocket. The little hole in the drainage hole there faces the pocket. Fill the next one up, and the next one goes right on top, alternating there, just like that. So you're not covering up each pocket, and then we're going to build it on up. So let me get some potting mix. Now I will say, this is probably the most important part to get right, is the mix that you use for your soil. You cannot use just regular garden soil. You don't want to go to the store and buy a garden soil bag of soil and put it in here. That stuff gets too compacted. You need something that's well draining. So you need a good potting mix or a good potting soil. Make sure it says one or the other. Now I make my own. It's pretty straightforward, easy to make. It's 2 parts compost to 2 parts peat moss to 1 part perlite. And then, so I use 5-gallon buckets. So I'll do 2 5-gallon buckets of compost, 2 5-gallon buckets of peat moss, and then a 5-gallon bucket of perlite. Mix it all together, and then I like to add about I don't know, maybe 2 cups, 3 cups of lime, garden lime, and sprinkle that in there, mix that in real good. That kind of helps balance out the pH, because the peat moss can be a little bit acidic. So whether you make your own or you buy pre-made soil, you want to make sure that you get a good potting mix, a good potting soil to put in here, because you don't need it. If it gets too compacted, you're not going to get water through it. You also need a potting soil or a potting mix, because both of those have like compost in them, which is going to be the nutrients for the plants to feed off of. You don't want a sterile seed starting mix. That would get incredibly expensive anyway, but you don't want a sterile seed starting mix in here. You need the nutrients from the compost and that kind of stuff that's in a potting mix, a potting soil, that will allow the plants to feed. And then the perlite helps with the drainage, keeps it from getting compacted. You don't want to compact those drainage holes. As the water goes through, it won't get through all of the plants. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So let me go get some potting mix, and like I said, I've already made it, made up a big batch of it. Probably not enough. I'll probably have to make some more, but let's start getting these things filled. All right, actually fill it over here, so if I spill any, it doesn't get in the base. Pretty straightforward process. Like I said here, let me show you real quick before so those are the drainage holes in the bottom. You can probably see them right there. See my finger? I don't know. Right there. You don't want to clog those up. That's one of the reasons why we're using a potting mix and not just regular soil. So you don't want to get those clogged up. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. These should take, this is the leaf planter. They have an original and a leaf. The leaf is slightly smaller. The original is slightly bigger. So it's going to take more soil for the leaf, or for the original planter, than it would the leaf planter. These take about 6 gallons worth of soil per level. So I've got a 5-gallon bucket here. That should almost fill this up, not quite. If I can get it all in here without losing a lot of it. And you do want to fill it all the way to the top. As you water that, that stuff's going to settle a little bit. So you want to make sure you get plenty of soil in there. And don't go short on the soil. I'm patting it down a little bit. You don't want to compact it real tight, but I am patting it down a little bit just to help it settle. Shake it a little bit, get some air bubbles out of there, or air pockets, I should say, and they're probably not bubbles. And then fill it on up. And that's most of it right there. I'll have to get just a little bit more, top it off, but each one of these things, in case you forget, it does say fill to the top. But that's really about all there is to it. Get a little bit more soil, top this off, and then we'll get started on the next one. We'll kind of show you a little bit more about how this thing goes together. It's a, like I said, it's a genius design. One of the things I really like about the leaf, or the GreenStalk planters, is that it is a fantastic design. It's a family-owned company right here in the United States, and if you're not in the United States, you can still get it, I'm sure, but right here in the United States it's made there, and it's fairly affordable compared to other vertical growing solutions that are similar to this, grow towers and things. It's pretty affordable compared to those. It's a lot cheaper. I love the base that spins, the drainage tube there. They've just thought of everything. It's a great design. I'm really excited to get growing in this thing. We're going to grow a ton of food in a very small space. Let me get this topped off. We'll come back and we'll show you kind of how it goes together. All right, I think we're in camera. So you can see I've got this completely filled to the top. I've got the watering disc on. I've got the little holes pointed towards, the drainage holes pointed towards the pockets. So that should work pretty well. Let me knock all that dirt out of there, make sure nothing clogs up those drainage holes. I did notice that you probably want to leave a little bit of an indentation right there for the watering disc to sit on. Don't fill it all the way up to the top of that. Just fill the pockets up and leave a little bit of indentation, because it does need to sit down in there just a little bit, and we don't want it to get clogged up. And then it's just a matter of filling this one up and then placing it on top like so, and then we just work our way up. That's all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. So, back to filling. I don't have a full 5-gallon bucket here, so this is not going to fill it all the way up, but we'll get there, and you get the idea. No sense in you watching me fill each level up, but we'll show you. Oh, hang on, I can't talk and can't do two things at one time. Can't talk and do this at the same time. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Pull those sticks out of there. And you can see, again, about the potting mix. I mean, this is a nice, fluffy, lots of organic matter in it, but not big chunks that are going to clog things up. It's nice, loose soil. That's kind of what you want in this thing. So get a good quality potting mix or a potting soil, or make your own. It's cheaper. If you can get compost free like I can, it's much cheaper to make your own than it is to buy pre-made. If you have to pay for the compost, you know, we get ours free from a local compost facility. If you have to pay for the compost, it may equal out. I don't know. You'll have to do the price comparison. This is way better quality than the cheap stuff you're going to get at a a big box store. But you know, like I said, just weigh the cost benefit and see, because this is going to be probably one of your bigger expenses is the soil. But it shouldn't be. Oh, one other thing I want to mention about this. This needs to sit on level ground. Before I forget, you don't want this on a hill or anywhere where it's going to be tippy, because it won't water evenly. Also, there's a chance it might fall over in a strong wind, something like that. So you do need to make sure you get it on level ground. So let me go get some more soil, get this filled up. We'll start putting these layers together. Well, a little over halfway down, I got 4 stacks high. Almost a fifth container filled, but I ran out of potting mix. I gotta go make some more. So like I said, it just goes together the same way all the way up to the top. So let me go ahead and get some more potting mix made, and get these other 3 trays filled up, get them stacked up, and then we'll show you from there what we're going to do. But you know, these are 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 times 7. So what is that? 36. Is that 36? 42, isn't it? 42 plants. Is my math right? My math is terrible. Let me do that again. Let's just make sure, because putting on the spot here, I'm afraid I'll get it wrong if I don't do this in my... Yeah, 42. I was right. I just had to double check it. I got to second guessing myself. 42 plants that I'm going to be able to grow in this. I mean, this is it. This is the whole take-up of this. That's it. 42 plants. Now, what kind of plants can you grow in here? There are all kinds. You can grow carrots. You can grow beets. You can grow all of your salad greens, kale, bok choy. I mean, lettuces, beets, radishes, all kinds of things. Now, for things, they send a nifty little planting guide for you. When you get it, on the back it has a list of different things you can grow in there, and it tells you which ones you can grow, like 3 per pod. So like things like beets and radish and carrot, you can go 3 per pod. So it's a lot more than 42 plants you can get in here. You can get a whole lot of plants in a very small space. And spins perfectly easy. You can roll it around, move it around to a different spot. Works great. I'm very impressed with it. Let me get the rest of it put together. We'll come back, we'll show you what it looks like when it's all completed and what we're going to do to get ready to plant it out. All right, so now we got it all set up. It is here. It's, you just turn it around. I mean, this is awesome. This thing is fantastic. Normally to water it, you're just going to fill up this top reservoir right here and let it drain through. But you know, the first watering, this stuff's pretty dry. I need to water it in. And also when you plant seeds in it and you're waiting for the seeds to sprout, you're going to need to water them in on the individual trays, not in the, here, let me get this turned over to a, there we go, because you need to rehydrate this soil. And again, whenever you plant seeds, you're going to want to do this as well. But we're also going to water it from the top. So anyway, let me get this all done. This is going to take a few minutes here. But I'm just going to water each one of the cells. Saturate them really good. And then I'll fill up the top reservoir and let that drain through. And again, once the plants are sprouted and they're kind of established, they start growing, you only need to water from the top. You don't need to do this every time. But until you get the seeds sprouted, you're going to need to water, you know, on the top. It's just like any kind of container garden, basically. And I will say, make sure you're using a nice light mist. You don't want to blow all the soil out of the pots, out of the containers. You need to do something that's not going to disturb it too much. This is going to take a few minutes. No sense in you watching me do the whole thing. I'm just watering and watering and watering and letting it saturate, letting it soak down in. All right, I think that pretty much does it. You want to get it pretty good and saturated the first time. And then, excuse me. Yeah, like I said, pretty good and saturated the first time because this is all pretty dry. I mean, it's fresh potting mix we just put in. You want to make sure it gets saturated all the way through. It looks like it is. Now, when we're starting seeds in here, I'm going to be watering that same way until the seeds get sprouted, but I'll also be filling up the top reservoir whenever I do. And I've already filled up this top reservoir twice, let it soak down through, but you also want to do that the first time. Well, I went ahead and planted seeds in it last week, and I figured I'd hold off to finish this video out until we got to see some results from the seed planting. I'll bring you in close here in just a second and show you pretty much everything has sprouted. What I planted is, this is radish, This row here is beets. This row here is, I forget now, carrot. This is one kind of carrot. This is another kind of carrot, a Danver carrot. Danver, is that what it's called? I always forget. Danver carrot, kaleidoscope carrot. Then we've got some black-seeded Simpson lettuce, some Merlot lettuce around here somewhere. That was a free seed from Baker Creek, so I'm going to try that out. This is a Paris Island romaine type lettuce, and then bok choy at the very bottom. We got a lot of wind going on today, so hopefully you can hear me. It's not too much wind noise. Hopefully I got that under control. Let me show you something that's really cool that comes with this. I'll hold this up close to the camera. See if I can do this without shading it too much. You can pause on that. You can kind of zoom in and get a good look at that. What this is a planting guide that comes with the container. Now they've got the original container. I can't hold it and talk. Original container listed over here. The leaf container listed over here. I've got the leaf container. It's slightly smaller than the original container. But these are all the plants that you can plant in a leaf container. And you can see there's quite a list right there. A whole bunch. And even more in the original container. Now they do list tomato down here as one of the plants in the original container. I got to imagine that'd be like a patio container type tomato, like a cherry tomato or something. I can't imagine trying to put a beefsteak container or tomato in that container. It's going to outgrow it pretty quick. But you could grow certain types of tomatoes in there for sure. Everything on here that's listed that has an asterisk next to it, like the beets, those can be planted 3 per cell. Now some of this it said, let's see, lettuce. Yeah, lettuce, it says 3 per cell. So I've done that on some of these. Some of these I just went ahead, you know, I got something going on here. That's not part of what I planted. Caught my attention, sorry. So most of these, I followed this planting guide. I put 3 radishes per cell. I put 3 beets per cell. Most of the lettuce I only did 2 per cell, and the romaine I only did 1 because it gets pretty big, so I thought it might crowd it out. Now, you know, all that stuff's going to grow and be harvested pretty quick, so I'll be restarting, and when I restart I may go ahead and try to put 2 or 3 in there and see how they do. Who knows? Anyway, the planting guide I thought was pretty nifty, pretty handy. There's also lots more things that you can grow in here. I've seen people grow, I don't think it lists green beans in here, does it? Yeah, it does. It does list bush bean in the original. I think you could probably get away with bush beans in this one as well. I don't see it listed in this one. Peas are listed, Swiss chard, thyme, turnips, cilantro. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So you can grow a ton of stuff in this very little space. Let me take you in. I gotta say, I'm super impressed with this. When I've got these seeds started, when I first sowed them, you know, of course this was brand new potting mix, so I kind of expected it to be dried out pretty quick. It takes a little while to rehydrate potting mix when it's dry. And I did have to water pretty much every day for the first 3 days, maybe, something like that. I was watering each individual cell with a light mist, and then I would fill up the top once a day. And then as we got about 3 days in, it didn't really start, it wasn't drying out nearly as much. The soil wasn't drying out, so I went ahead and just let it go. For the past, I haven't watered in about 4 or 5 days, and it's still plenty of moisture in here. Everything has sprouted. Super easy to get it to sprout. Everything, except for the carrots. Carrots take a little bit longer to sprout usually, but everything else sprouted super quick. I mean, we're only a week after you know, the last time you saw me on video. It's only been 7 days. So we've got good germination, good germination. Everything sprouted. So, and I've already thinned most of it out because I, you know, put a little too many seeds in there and it was growing too much. So let me bring you in close. We'll show you what it looks like. Hopefully you can hear me past all this wind. It's about to blow my hat off today. All right, let's go take a look real close. All right, there you go. You can see now we've got the radish is all sprouted. The beets, they're kind of small yet, but they have sprouted. These are the 2 rows of carrots that have not sprouted yet, neither one of those. We've got lettuce here. There's some other lettuce. Let me turn it around a little bit. We'll see. There we go, black-seeded Simpson lettuce. There's the romaine lettuce. Oh, and bok choy on the very bottom. I've got bok choy growing in there. So it's all sprouted. Everything's doing great. And it all looks really good. I'm really enthusiastic about this. All right, I've said this probably already, but I am super impressed with this container garden. One thing I really like about this is a good family-run company, superior customer service. They are very responsive to emails, to questions, to any kind of concerns that you have, any kind of issues you have. They're going to be there to help you out. If you have problems getting something to grow, they're going to give you advice on how to do that. They are right here in the United States, in Tennessee actually is where they're located. This is an American-made product. If that's something that's important to you, I kind of like that as well. And best of all, it's very affordable compared to the other types of container, like vertical garden type systems that you have. Now, you could get away cheaper with some things, but you're not going to get this watering system, and that's what really makes this thing worth it, is the watering system. Being able to water this, just fill it up from the top and let it water everything all the way down. That's worth it right there, in my opinion. And I do have a discount code for you. I'll leave a link down in the description below. They run sales all the time, so if you're reluctant to do it right now, watch for a sale. You can get $10 off your purchase of $75 or more. Just use my link and my code, Redneck. It's all in the description below. Check that out. Pick yourself up one and get to growing some great produce in a very small space. I can't say enough about it. We'll watch it as the season goes on, how well it does, but I'm enthusiastic, and I just know already this is going to do great. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, whoa, about lost my hat. God bless.